This is how French composer Lili Boulanger opens her energetic piece, De matin, printemps. This work started as a piece for solo violin, or flute, and piano, which she later arranged for both piano trio and finally for full orchestra. Here is just a little snippet of the two earlier versions, the first for violin and piano, and the second for piano trio. Boulanger was born into a musical family. Her father was a composer, her mother a singer, and her sister Nadia was the noted composer and pedagogue. Lili was a bit of a child prodigy. Gabrielle Fauré noticed she had perfect pitch when she was around 2 years old, and a year later she began sitting in on her older sister's composition lessons at the Paris Conservatoire. Boulanger's style was largely influenced by the French Impressionist movement. Even the title of this work, which translates to either on or of a spring morning, suggests the Impressionist leanings of this exuberant work. Of particular note for this stylistic influence is her colorful use of the wind section. Here is a brief excerpt from De matin, printemps that has a typical use of the winds, followed by a moment from the first movement of Debussy's La Mer, which has some similar wind figures. Boulanger's piece was written with a companion work, titled D'un soir, triste, or Of a Sad Evening. Both works are based on a melody that is strikingly similar. Here is the melody of D'un soir, triste. And here is the melody of De matin, printemps in its first presentation in the flute. Notice how the shape and rhythm of the two melodies are similar, but the harmony, tempo, and articulations all work to differentiate the two melodies. Also note how this initial melody has three basic features: the circling of a single note at the beginning, an upward gesture, and the dotted rhythm at the end. These three elements form the basis of this entire short work. This melody is frequently followed by a more lyrical melody in the cellos. Here is that melody from closer to the end of the piece. This piece is in a basic ABA form, where a contrasting middle section, B, is bookended by two similar sections, A. In this work, that middle has a more mysterious character that contrasts with the bright and jaunty A section. This is how that middle section begins. Soon the violins introduce a new lyrical theme. After the A section returns, the character of the B section does not completely disappear. Here is a moment in that repeated A section where two solo violins pass off the melody to each other, but in a slightly darker and more mysterious way than the theme is usually stated. That mood does not last long, however, as upward runs and the winds and strings usher in the jubilant conclusion of the work. Given this piece's exuberant and joyful character, it is surprising that it is actually one of the last pieces that Boulanger wrote, and her sister even had to add the final details, such as dynamics, articulation, and other performance instructions to the score, as her younger sister's health failed. The work as a whole, reinforced by this ending, does not sound like a deathbed piece. Instead, it is full of life, with even a slight touch of humor. Note the use of a descending glissando in the harp between what sounds like the final chord of the piece and the actual final chord of the piece. This little extra ending adds a bit of humor to the final moments of the work.